right. Welcome, everyone, to the Tuesday, July 1st, 2025 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. I will now call this meeting officially to order at 7 o'clock Eastern. May I please have a determination of quorum, please?
Yes. Commissioner Parker,
Present.
Chairman Jones,
Present.
Commissioner Williams,
Present.
Commissioner Eccles.
Present.
Have a quorum. Thank you.
Awesome. If we would all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Awesome. I hope that everyone has had sufficient time to review tonight's short agenda. Are there any questions about the agenda this evening, or do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Commissioner Parker, make a motion to approve the agenda.
Commissioner Eccles, second.
All right, I have a motion to approve the agenda and a second. All those in favor of approving the meeting agenda for tonight, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. That motion passes. Additionally, we need to know if there are any questions or comments about the meeting minutes from the last meeting. Are there any questions from the meeting on June 3rd from the minutes? If there are no questions, I'll now take forth motions to approve the meeting minutes for the June 3rd meeting.
Commissioner Eccles, I make an approval for the meeting minutes of last month as is written.
Commissioner Williams, second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the meeting minutes for the June 3rd meeting as is, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. That passes. We will now enter the area of public comment. We will not have any comments related to the agenda item. So if there are any public comments, please keep your comments limited to 2 minutes. If you want no public comments, has anybody submitted a card? I don't think so. Good. Okay. All right. So there is no public comments tonight. We will keep moving on quite rapidly to old business. Is there any old business we need to cover? There is no old business. Okay. Next one, right? It is not a public hearing as well. There are no public hearing items. Is that correct? That is correct. All right. Now we're going all the way down to new business, which will be a text amendment. Applicant Joe Harvey, Lawrence Bryant. Staff, give us the review.
Greetings.
Thank you.
The item before you is a text amendment submitted by the property owner Joe Harvey at 25 Smith Street in Fairburn, Georgia. He's requesting a text amendment to allow special event venues in the downtown mixed-use zoning district. The city of Fairburn has 2 types of special events, one for temporary events that are approved and reviewed as administrative permits. So you can get one for a short period of time. Special event venues are places where you can permanently host events. The police department, the fire department, several staff members are a part of the review process, and it's a bit more extensive. The applicant is asking that the venues be allowed in the downtown mixed use so that they can host events year-round. This, however, would impact all properties in the downtown mixed use zoning district, so any property owner, if this is approved, would be able to come in and request it. Some things that we reviewed as a part of it was just adding a little bit more teeth to it. The applicant simply asked for the downtown mixed use to be added to the allowed districts. We're also requesting that some items be added to make it a little bit more concise, and just added some other things we've seen with events that have happened in other areas. For instance, waste management, making sure that, that area is highlighted, that they can show us exactly how they're going to remove trash. Things like, because our downtown mixed-use area also calls for residential, in the instance where there is a buffer requirement for downtown mixed-use zoning district as we grow, that might become a little problematic. So there's an exception specifically if this is approved for downtown mixed-use. Because of the traffic congestion and that potential, we want to make sure that any venue does not create undue traffic congestion on the surrounding area. Also, for the lighting piece, because if we have more residential in the future, we want to make sure that there is some language in there that allows staff to work with the applicant in case lighting and things like that become problematic to the surrounding area. There's also a provision in there regarding being able to revoke our approval with special conditions. So the police department, city administrator, or designee would be able to stop or issue citations where events or participants violate other city ordinance, our general guidelines and terms. So those are just a brief update of the conditions that we're asking along with the applicant's request. We are recommending approval.
Okay. Thank you for that review. Let's open it up now for questions for staff, commissioners. I've got a question then. So this came forth, the applicant raised this issue, but this is not related to approving a request for a special use permit. This is, just to recap for the audience at home and here, right? This just spurred this desire to redo the text amendment so that we can cover our bases should this applicant want to make that request and/or any number of other applicants down the road. Is that correct?
That is correct. So any property owner that has the downtown mixed-use zoning district, if this is approved, they could also have a special event venue, which means they could permanently host events, baby showers, things of that nature.
Okay. Is there somewhere that you, like, give us some example of what a special event venue types of things that they would host versus like an actual business that only does one thing? Is there an example? You mentioned baby showers, like graduation parties, or some other things that we typically see?
Typically in Fairburn, we see charity type of events, folks that are hosting like barbecues and things like that for some sort of nonprofit. We've had venues for like Cinco de Mayo, things like that. In terms of venue spaces where it's permanently, we don't have a lot of those in the city limits anywhere, really.
Okay, all right. Other commissioners' questions related to the text amendment?
What about, is there anything about a noise ordinance?
Yes. So we just recently updated our noise ordinance. So there is some provisions in there regarding noise, and also there is language in there if it becomes sort of unruly or it becomes a nuisance, then the police department would have the authority to shut it down. And staff would also have the authority to revoke the venue if it does become problematic or noisy. And that's one of the concerns with downtown mixed use, because there is residential communities in proximity, not adjacent, but they are, within driving distance, and so sound carries, especially if it's excessive. But we do have a way to address that.
Okay. And my other biggest concern is just ingress and egress for parking and just traffic in general.
Any applicant that is requesting to submit would have to provide a event management plan so that they could explain, how much parking capacity that they have. The special event permit that's temporary, typically the applicant will let us know, it's going to be for a pop-up event. With the venue, we're expecting a lot more detail because of that potential impact.
So a special event, which is that 14-day, you get it to do a special event. Parking is like, hey, we're going to do an event, so people will be here. We don't really have to submit an extensive parking plan, but it's only going to be for a couple days, right? When it's a permanent, right, that's where they will have to submit, where it says, I assume, right, one space for every 25 square feet of floor area, a very extensive parking and traffic plan, rather than we're just going to have one event, we'll see you in 6 months, which is not an undue burden. But if it was every weekend, we would expect that. Is that an accurate recap?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
I have a question.
Yes, Commissioner.
Is there anything that might be in place in case more than one applicant will have an event at the same time?
No, but I think that's a good point. We can certainly add some modifications to address, to make sure that there are venues that are in close proximity to each other, because that is a good point. If this becomes popular, then I could definitely see the underutilized spaces in downtown becoming popular, and if you have, 4 or 5 events that are within walking distance, you don't have parking minimums in certain areas or parking lots, it could certainly become problematic. So we can add some language to address that.
So, because right now there is no permanent special event venue in the downtown mixed use, correct? So there are none. This would give the ability for, in this case, this applicant to actually apply. Doesn't mean they'll get approved, but just that they can apply. And then adding that text language, maybe long-term, should we see all of a sudden we get 50 applicants, we won't. But I mean, get several, that we could manage that.
We can add this with the modification if that's one of the conditions that the Planning and Zoning Commission is recommending.
We have language that I don't see about the types of events which cannot be permitted.
Not necessarily. It does have language regarding music and entertainment that's already in the existing ordinance. We're not changing that. And that language says that music or entertainment shall not be the primary purpose for the special event and always be secondary to a wedding reception. But a concert, play, or stage performance is not permitted.
Correct.
So the goal with that is to make sure that it doesn't become a club-like setting.
And that's already on the, written, yeah, okay.
Thank you.
No, that was one of my questions, great question.
I have a question. Commissioner Parker, so is this just going to be inside or is this outside as well? And what areas of downtown?
So the downtown mixed-use zoning district is basically all of downtown. The entire downtown has that same zoning district. So that's from where the Police and Fire and Youth Center all the way down to the beginning of the city limits. All of those parcels have the same zoning district.
And I thought I saw a car show. Am I accurate? Did I see car shows?
That was a city-sponsored event.
Yeah.
So the Parks and Rec Department partnered with, I believe, a place of worship to host a car show.
And that would be an example of a special use that they can't do a car show every day. It was just a one-time,
Yeah.
right?
And that was a city-sponsored event,
Yeah.
so those are a little different.
City can do that, okay. Are there any more questions for staff? Does any have any questions for the applicant? Although this text amendment applies to everyone, not just this applicant. They just happen to raise the issue. But does anybody, do you want to ask questions of the applicant?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay, all right.
Yes. and
Unless
we'll
the
make that
applicant
change.
wants to say anything, or if not, we can, okay. Just state your name and address and,
Good evening.
Hello.
Kevin Jarrells. 25 Smith Street, downtown Fairburn. The purpose of me trying to open up an event center downtown, because there's nothing going on down there. You drive through there at night, it's blank, pitch dark, everything. Bring a event center where people can have somewhere to go, can have parties instead of riding all the way down to Atlanta, all the way up, back up south, just to have some fun. We're just trying to bring something to Fairburn where people that live here can just walk in downtown and just have fun and walk back home. I just don't understand why it's a problem with the event center downtown doing, I mean, it's the same thing that goes on when they say it's not zoning for that. But if you walk by eyes, just 5 minutes, there's a whole lot of entertainment goes on right there. I mean, I like to know what's the difference. When they're giving concerts and all that, they want us to pull permits. We want to know if the city pulling permits, or they just doing what they want to do. I mean, we pay taxes just like they do.
oh yeah.
So, I mean, it's like y'all need answers for us. I need answers from them.
Well, I think we're here to talk about the actual text amendment, right, which would actually give you as the applicant the ability to apply to do, and give anybody, right, the ability to apply to that. Are there any?
Well, but what's the purpose of trying to open up an event center, and then you getting shut down, but then you can have something, but you got to pay $250 each time you want to pull a permit, but each time you want to have something? Special events?
Right, and that's what this text amendment we're trying to address.
Yes,
Denise,
so
yeah?
the item before us is a text amendment that would allow you or any applicant to have special events by right. So they're considering the request.
Yeah, because it just wasn't on the books before, right? Are there examples, I asked that to Denise, of special events that your venue would host, like graduation parties, family reunions,
Graduation party, weddings, majority is inside.
right?
Graduation parties and stuff and weddings would be inside,
Okay,
not outside.
okay,
Our place is big enough for inside.
sure. So it's not just that you mentioned like walk in and walk out, but it would be more like somebody would rent the venue to do a wedding, would rent
Right.
the venue to do a grad party, a family reunion. It's not
Right.
just, we're open from 5 to 10, come on in, right?
Correct.
Okay, so you have like somebody specifically be renting the venue for that? Okay, got it. I just want to make sure. Yes? Ms.
I have a question. Commissioner Parker, so depending on what event, type of event you have, will you have security?
Of course I will.
Okay, good. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Any other questions for staff at all? You good? No? Okay. All right. We have reviewed the text amendment. I will now to change the text of this part of our planning and zoning. I will now see if there is a motion to change the text amendment. And real quick, just a procedural question. If we want to approve it but want to have language added, like Commissioner Eccles was talking about, do we say that in the approval for the motion?
You just make a motion with that language added as part of your motion,
Okay,
and then if it's seconded and
okay,
everyone agrees, then we can make sure that's in the language.
in the language, okay, all right. So we'll take forth any motions?
Commissioner Eccles, I make a motion that the text amendment be approved with the necessary corrections that were mentioned tonight and what staff already has in place to go into text amendment.
I have a motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the text amendment, but to add the language that was brought up by Commissioner Eccles. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion passes. Okay. Other business? Any other business?
No, no other business.
No other business. My goodness. Okay, it is 7:17. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Commissioner Parker, make a motion to adjourn.
Do I?
Commissioner Eccles, second.
I have a motion and a second to adjourn the July 1st Planning and Zoning meeting. All those in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. We are adjourned. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.